Welcome to No Church Church. Today we're going to be talking about Dana Coverstone, and we're going to be talking about his dream and how it's being interpreted as the end time, Jesus returning, market crash, everything devastating happened around us. But more particularly, I want to be talking about money at that time. Now, if you believe that Jesus is coming back, then there's no reason to invest. There's no reason to buy food. There's no reason to do anything because Jesus is going to take care of you. He's going to come back and everything's going to be okay. But for me, September 2nd was kind of the deadline for Jesus to come back, right? Why September 2nd? Because it was the Feast of Trumpets. What is Feast of Trumpets? The Feast of Trumpet is a ritual trumpet blast to signify the issuance of revelation, to call Israel together for God's word of redemption. It is set at a time for Israel's final agricultural harvest to symbolize the Lord's final harvest of souls. So we read in Revelation, Jesus coming back with a big trumpet, the heavens split, you see Jesus coming back on a white charger. And so why would he have another day set aside as a blast to say, hey, this is the final harvest of souls if it wasn't on this day? Like, why would he have us observe this every year? Because he wants us to know that this is how it's going to happen. And this is when it's going to happen. Okay, when was Jesus born? At Passover. Why do we know this? Because the inns were full. There was a festival going on, and there was 4 festivals. The Jews had to go, and they had to check in at these 4 festivals, and that's why Joseph and Mary were there. When did Jesus get circumcised? At the last day of Passover. Why was it so significant that Jesus was born on Passover, which Passover was the day when the blood of the lamb, right, was on the doorpost, and the death angel flew over, and none of the firstborn kids of the Jews died because the blood was applied. Isn't it interesting that Jesus was also born on that day as a symbol to show us that he was the firstborn, that he's going to have his blood sacrificed so that none of our firstborns or self would be sacrificed to the law of sin. So with all that being said, I probably butchered it up, but I don't think Jesus is coming back. I don't think this is the end times. If he is coming back, it's not going to be till September 2021. Now, Dana specifically talked about the finger starting in the 2nd week and going through the 3rd week. And I think it's interesting that it happens right after the Feast of Tabernacles, the Sukkot, because that starts October 2nd and goes to October 9th, which, depending on how you look at it, starts the full week after that, right? That would be the 2nd full week of October 11th, 12th, right in there, going through to the end of the month. So it's interesting to me that there's a completion of another God's holiday, Feast of Tabernacles, right before he puts his finger, and we're seeing that there's going to be some kind of situation, drama happening. And the thing I like is he doesn't only say when things are going to begin, but he also talks about when things are going to end. And so if we come to the Passover, right? Passover, March 27th to April 4th, he says he saw a big billboard, and on that billboard it said, big things are coming to the earth. And so that signifies to me, Jesus isn't coming back. He's basically saying big things are coming to the earth. Good things are going to happen. Not all doom and gloom bad. Is this the first time we've had an earthquake? Is this the first time we've had a market crash? Is this the first thing we've had famines on the earth? Is this the first time we've had any storms? Is this the first time? No. And this is not the time that Jesus is going to come back. Why would he say, I've got big things for the earth if he's going to return and take us away? I encourage you to listen through all of Dana's dreams, and in none of them does he signify he saw a figure come down from the heavens to earth. And none of them did he signify that he saw people leaving the earth. In all of them, he saw people on earth in situations. He saw earthly situations happening. And that's what I want to talk about today, specifically when he said market crash. He didn't give a lot of thought around the reason of market crash. Besides, he talked about the dollar before. He talked about it burning up into about 2/3, where it was only 1/3 left in value. He talked about the banks losing value. He talked about ports stopping. He talked about famine. He talked about people in long lines. He talked about a lot of situations, but he didn't really specify of why the market would crash. But we have other things that show us what maybe this dream means. There's more ways to look at prophecy than thus saith the Lord. And, it's a known prophet that says something. Your weatherman tells you and he prophesies to you what next week's weather is going to be. Your real estate agent prophesies to you and says, hey, your house might not be worth that. I don't think that you're going to get that much money. Or maybe the reverse side, hey, I think we could raise the price. Information will help you understand prophecy, and that's how you choose by faith of what you believe in, what you're hearing, what's resonating with your spirit. And for me, it's Warren Buffett, right? I'm an investor. I invest into the stock market. So when Warren Buffett says something about investing, if he says something about the market, if he says something about stocks or bonds or treasuries or dollar or any of these things, I perk up like he is a prophet to me because he has wisdom, he has knowledge, he has understanding, he has revelation, he has experience. He's been there, done that. And so I'm sitting there saying, what does he see and know that I've not experienced, that I do not know what I should invest or how I should invest? And so one of his greatest signals is the GDP versus the stock market. And so if we see here in the 1970s, when this chart was high, it showed, hey, there might be a sell-off here. And then we see the market went down. And why? Inflation, stagnation. We had the oil crisis. We had a lot of drama going on in that time period, which pushed things down. Then again, here is Warren Buffett's chart on GDP versus what is invested into the stock market. And it was extremely high in 2000, the dot-com boom. And after that high, it went down, and so did the market. Next, which wasn't even really that high, was the '07 financial crash, and the market went down. Here's the problem. Based on this, the dot-com bubble, there was a huge problem, and the market went down after that. Here, the financial problem. We all experienced that just a couple years ago, and now this indicator is at all-time highs. And so for me, this is not an aha, this is an oh my moment of time that we're seeing, because I didn't enjoy the 2007, and I had people coming to me telling me things, and I was like, nah, I'm smarter, I'm not worried about that, blah, blah. And I really felt it. I really had 5 years of just torment and trying to make my bills. I was in a bad way. And so for me, I'm trying right now to ring the bell and holler and say, hey, listen, look what Warren Buffett says. Hey, listen, see what I say. Hey, look at what Dana Coverstone's telling you. Look at the things that are around us, showing us signals, prophesying to us something bad is about to happen. Not the end of the world, but something bad. And so for me, I don't know where this market could go down to, but based on results of what Warren Buffett is doing, like buying $563 million in gold, like unloading your bank stocks, or even sold $800 million of your stock in Apple. And to me, that's a big deal for Warren Buffett to do all of these things. And so my question is, the Fed is buying some of the biggest companies' bonds, raising questions over why. And we keep seeing the market go up and up. And is this the reason why? As the Fed buys from companies their debt, I don't understand it, but the central bank is helping out these major companies, Microsoft, Apple, Home Depot, and they're at all-time highs in the stock market. Why in the world is the Fed buying their debt? Or are they at all-time highs because the Fed is buying their debt? Which then makes things to seem as an illusion, because Disney lays off 28,000 workers. This is a phenomenal amount of people. And for them, they understand. They got people crunching the numbers. They know, can we operate at this level? What are we spending? What are we doing? You're coming into holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter. You're coming into one of their greatest times of upselling people, and they're seeing that the market is not there. 28,000 employees being laid off. This is oh crap. This is an oh crap article here, because they're not the only company doing this. So when we see that QQQs just since coronavirus is up 82%, is this really just fake news? And with the market up all-time highs, Is there a possibility that we'll come off those all-time highs, like Dana said, market crash, and what could we do to invest in this? Now, one way to invest is just buy puts on the QQQ. Now, that's kind of expensive, or you could short the QQQ. It's kind of expensive because they're $280 for this stock, and we might find support right around this $150, which doesn't seem so out of balance because when the market pulls back, it pulls back 50%, and from these $300 highs down to $150 is 50%, which is Warren Buffett's rule to buy. When things are on sale, 50% off, he buys. So would we say that the QQQs can go down 50%? Absolutely, 100%. So here's the inverse of the QQQ. It's TECS. Inverse meaning as the QQQs went up, this went down. So here's the equation. When the QQQs go down 1%, TECS will go up 3%. The great thing about TECS is that it's only $12.85 right now. Well, did you realize that during the pandemic that TECS went up 110%? So if there's a doomsday crash from $12, almost $13 up into this support resistance level, it would be 675% profit, right? But that's what we're talking about. A market crash would really catapult this stock higher. But right here, you see that this is support and resistance. So if it does come into these highs, just be quick to sell because the market is going to pull back off. Again, I do not think Jesus is coming back. I do not think this is the end of the world. And so you could actually catch both sides of this trade, right? Buy this going up into next year, start seeing what's happening with the economy, start seeing what's happening with some of the policies, and then reverse your trade and take it to the downside because we know the market's going to get better. Okay, here we are on the SPY. With this is the Standard & Poor's 500 ETF. All right, so what do we see? We see that this high made resistance. Once it hit that line, it went back down. This high came into resistance, started selling off. That was the start of the coronavirus. And I was telling all of my friends right here, sell your stocks. A lot of them did, and we made a lot of money waiting for the bottom. And so you could start watching our TikTok videos and you would see I was telling everybody to buy right here. Why? Because it's support. These candlesticks tell us the future. These are prophetic candlesticks. They tell you what's going to happen. They don't tell you coronavirus. They don't tell you market crash. They just say, hey, here's some support. Buy here. Hey, this is resistance. Sell here. So if you see just in the last weeks, where have we been? We've been back to this resistance level, and that's why prices are already selling back off. So market crash means that it should come back down to this lower level, right? This would be where the first place you would see some kind of relief support, which is around $210. The next support level is right here around 180. Market crash, maybe it goes down to 180. Both of these are significant. A lot of people were asking me about their 401ks right here, and I told them, no. If you've not sold already back in January, February, don't sell now. The market will correct. And sure enough, they made back a lot of their money. Now I'm telling them, reallocate. Look at your portfolio. See what you can get rid of that is at the top of the highs, showing that there's no more room to make more profit. The stock market just doesn't go up forever. It hits certain price points and then changes the direction.